So the purpose of this particular news conference is to explain the need for greater fire restrictions, to outline the fire restrictions by jurisdiction, and to express that we need the public's help in making for a safer fire season this year in preventing wildland fires. First to speak will be the Honorable Richard J. Berry from the City of Albuquerque. Mayor?
Just put my sunglasses on there.
Sorry, sir.
Boy, what a bright and beautiful day. We want to thank, too, also the media, because I'll tell you, this is our discussion today is about protecting these beautiful natural resources that we have, making sure that these resources are here for the next generation and then the generation after that. And so much of that has to do with public awareness and making sure that we're being good stewards of these great resources by being careful. And these closures are part of that process. So this afternoon, we're certainly talking about some additional restrictions in and around the city of Albuquerque, both here in the open space and also in our beautiful bosque. We've brought together our partners from the surrounding fire agencies to talk about partial and full closures that will go into effect on Monday morning, June 10th at 8 a.m. We're very proud of our recreation areas in both the city and the county, obviously, and the bosque and the foothills are visited by thousands of people on a daily basis, and we want to make sure that they have some place to visit for years to come. That's why, in order to protect these natural resources, we're imposing the partial closure of the bosque and the foothills. By limiting access to the forested areas, we decrease the likelihood of a human-caused wildfire while protecting public health and public safety. And citizens and visitors can still use these great resources just in a limited way. For example, they can still use established trail systems in certain areas, and we'll get into some detail on that in just a few moments. And of course, the levee road will need to be used to access some of these areas. We've taken the stance through Chief Breen and his leadership, and Jeremy and others within the Albuquerque Fire Department, that we believe in certain areas it's better to allow people in doing the appropriate activities, riding bicycles, hiking, certainly no open flames, nothing along those lines. But we want to make sure that we have eyes and ears in these areas in case there's a fire, whether it's human caused or whether it's a natural lightning strike or something else that will allow us to get on these fires very quickly. And so therefore the ban in the county is effective, and the city also will be affecting our own ban, as I said before, 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday, June 10th. There will be no open burning allowed on private or public outdoor areas. So that's private and public areas, no outdoor burning. That means no bonfires, no recreational fires, no use of like the model rockets. My son and I did that through scouting. Those actually, I believe the fire that was up here a couple of years ago was a model rocket caused fire. No open flame devices, certainly, and no burning of weeds or trash. And once again, that's on public and on private lands. You can still use propane, however. That is still being allowed. You also may burn in enclosed chambers such as fireplaces and wood-burning stoves. AFD and APD open space officers will be increasing their patrols on Monday, but we also depend on the eyes and ears of our citizens that are out about enjoying our beautiful city. So if you see anything, if there's something that looks suspicious, if you see the beginnings of a fire, please call 242-COPS. That's 242-COPS. If you see something of an urgent nature, you can call 911 as well. We want to make sure that if there is an incident that we get on it very early and that we get our great resources and the great men and women of the Albuquerque Fire Department out there and our great agencies, interagency groups that we work with at the county, state, federal, to make sure we knock these down quickly. I'm going to be turning it over now to Matt Rao, who's with the Sandia Fire Management Office. Matt's going to talk us about some of the changes in the Cibola National Forest and grasslands. But just on a final note, we do have Albuquerque firefighters up in northern New Mexico helping our friends and neighbors there fight these wildfires that are consuming so many acres right now. And so I want to thank Chief Breen and the men and women of the Albuquerque Fire Department, but also all of these individuals, and Jeremy's kind of one of our go-to guys on this at the Albuquerque Fire Department, but from the fire marshal all the way through state, federal, local, county. If you see this as a mayor, it doesn't take you very long to figure out that these folks, they know what they're doing, they work well together. You don't see a lot of interagency problems. These folks know what they're doing and they're good at it, and they work well together. And I think as a community we should give them our thanks because they're doing a great job for us. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Rao, and he'll tell us a little bit about what's going on in the Cibola. Matt?
Thanks, Mayor Barry. Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everybody. As the mayor said, I'm Matt Rao. I'm the Fire Management Officer for the Sandia Ranger District. And on behalf of the Cibola National Forest and Grasslands, I'd like to thank you all for coming. As everybody sees, there are conditions right now warrant a little more aggressive stance from us on the Cibola National Forest in terms of fire restrictions, closures, and public safety. You see what's happening to the north of us on our sister forest, the Santa Fe. The fires up there are still quite problematic, and our conditions here are no different. We're actually experiencing conditions now on the Sandia Ranger District and the Mountain Air Ranger District that push us into a full closure situation or a partial closure situation in our condition here. All of our indices and the factors that we use to track our fire danger are just about to the max we've ever recorded. So for us right now, it's twofold. It's the risk of having a wildfire and the human-caused fires. So through the closures, that's an attempt to keep people out and reduce the number of folks in the woods that could potentially start the fires. But on the other side of it is the large majority of our fires on the Cibola National Forest and the Sandia Ranger District are still natural caused ignitions. They're still lightning fires. And you can take a look behind us at the terrain that we work in here on the Sandia Ranger District, and the Mountain Air Ranger District is no different. It's steep, it's rugged, it's hard to access, and when you have people up in these areas and a fire starts down below, especially in these conditions, it's nearly impossible to get those folks out in time. So for us to have any sort of coordinated evacuation mission in conditions like this, it's just almost unthinkable. So to protect our natural resources, like the mayor said, and also to protect our visitors and the folks that come and use this area, this closure is a necessary thing at this point. So what it'll look like on the Sandia and the Mountain Air Ranger District is, for the Sandia Ranger District, it'll be a partial closure. We're going to close the entire district except for two locations. One is our land here in the foothills. We have a Trail 365, Forest Trail 365, runs through our land in the foothills, ties into the Albuquerque City open space trail system. We're going to leave that access open. So just like what you heard earlier, it's the same rationale. We'd like to have the residents out here, like to have the visitation out, and have people have a place to go enjoy their natural resources and help us with eyes and ears out on the ground as well. So people that are out here recreating, mountain biking and hiking and running, will still be able to do so, and just do so, safely, and can help us with our reporting. The other open spot on the Sandia Ranger District will be our Tijeras Pueblo interpretive site, which is located at the Sandia Ranger District office. It's in Tijeras, just up the road. It's a nice little interpretive trail. It's another opportunity to get out and explore some of our natural resources and learn something about our local area. So we're trying to have something available. But beyond those two areas, the Sandia Ranger District will be closed entirely. The Mountain Air Ranger District will be closed entirely as well. There will be no access to federal lands on that district. So, as we move forward in the next few weeks, as we go into closures, we're asking our public, our public and our cooperators standing behind us, this is all a huge team effort. Nobody wants to see the loss of our natural resources here. Nobody wants to see any loss of life or any injuries even. So we're all working together on this one to move forward. We understand that it's an impact, but we appreciate the support on this. And what we're looking at as far as the closures go, implementation on June 10th at 8 a.m., starting right there. Two hard closure points that are going to really affect folks are Highway 165 out of Placitas going up into the National Forest. That's going to be a hard closure. And we're also going to close with the assistance and the authorization from the New Mexico State Police. We've asked for them to allow us to close Highway 536 at the at the forest boundary just outside of Sandia Park. So with the state police assistance and the Department of Transportation assistance, we're going to move into a closure on both of those state highways on June 10th at 8 a.m. So thank everybody for coming and working through this with us. Chief?
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Yep. Our next speaker will be from the Bernalillo County Fire Department Division Chief Chris Gober. Chris?
Thanks, Chief. Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Chris Gober, Bernalillo County Fire Marshal. I just want to reiterate what's already been said, that we're extremely dry. Our fire dangers getting into the extreme phase of the danger. So we want everybody to be prepared and to be fire wise and protect your homes from the fire. In the East Mountains, Bernalillo County open space will be closed Monday as well to coincide with the U.S. Forest Service, so we don't have any confusion. Everybody's on the same page. Also, to reiterate, our open burning restrictions are for all of Bernalillo County, including the East Mountains. There's no open flame, no rockets, that sort of thing. And also on Tuesday, we'll be going in front of the County Commission for our fire work restrictions. So hopefully we'll limit some of these human-caused fires. Thank you.
Our next speaker is someone we always love to see on our scenes, one of our emergency response partner from the American Red Cross, Rahim Balshira. Rahim? Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I just want to, again, reiterate the message that has been already expressed here. And as we know, more and more people are making their homes in the wildlands here, woodland settings, rural settings, with residents in these areas enjoying the beautiful environment. We also face a very real danger of wildfires. If you live near the Bosque, the foothills, East Mountain Plains, please plan an evacuation route if evacuation is necessary. We also would urge the community to please take the advice of our officials, and if evacuation is warranted, please evacuate as quickly as possible. On behalf of the Red Cross, one thing that I would iterate is please plan. Plan to have a grab-and-go kit, which will have essential important papers if evacuation is necessary. Keep your medications with you, and also important papers that you may need as part of your evacuation. The other thing that we need to remember is that if evacuation is ever necessary, you need to also be prepared to come to the Red Cross shelters. And if you are coming to the Red Cross shelters, we urge you to keep a disaster kit with you. And that would include a change of clothing and blankets, and also a first aid kit if you have one with you. So again, preparedness is the key from a Red Cross perspective. The other part that I would like to keep in, to remind the community is Red Cross is always prepared because pets are also part of our family. If evacuation is ever necessary, Red Cross works with animal shelters, and so when you are evacuated, please let us know and we will work with the community to get the pets taken care of as well as your family members. Again, plan for how your family will take care of itself if it needs to evacuate for several days away from home. And in closing, I'd like to remind the community that Red Cross has used the technology to put life-saving skills, life-saving tools in the hands of the community. If you have smartphones, either iPhones or Droids, please download the Red Cross apps, the wildfire apps, and the first aid apps. It will tell you precisely what you need to do before a disaster, during a disaster, and after a disaster. It is also connected with all the official messaging through the U.S. Forestry and other official government agencies, and you will get the notification on your apps. So we urge you to download those apps. Again, please plan, be informed, and build a kit. Thank you so much.
I'll be the last speaker today. It should be clear to everyone that the fire danger is extremely high, that temperatures will continue to rise throughout the summer, and that dangerous fire conditions will persist until we get a significant amount of rainfall. The greatest disaster potential in the metro area is a bosque fire, and we really need our public to assist us in preventing wildland fires in the first place. We need our citizens to honor the fire restrictions. We need them to be fire wise and create a defendable space around their properties and control ignition sources. And we need our citizens to report suspicious behavior or people that are violating the fire restrictions to our law enforcement agencies. The firefighting agencies represented today, we're prepared to fight a fire. We're prepared through equipment preparation, firefighter training, operational planning, and interagency mutual aid agreements. And we're ready to respond to these fires, but we really need the cooperation of our citizens to keep our citizens safe, our communities safe, and our outdoor recreational areas safe from harm. With that, I'd like to take questions from any agencies or any reporters that want to talk to any specific agency. But first, you'd probably want to know, what trails are we talking about? The trails are the established trails. In the Bosque, it's going to be the levee roads and things that are clearly established, and you can find that out by going to the city's website at cabq.gov and go to the open space web link. But trails behind me are established. The ones that people are riding their bikes on, those are established trails. Getting off trail or onto the forest floors, that's a prohibited area. So with that, we all stand for questions.
Hey Jim, one thing.
Yes, sir.
Throw in here. The open areas. No, this is you still.
Okay. Always trying to dodge the camera.
The open areas are still under the same level of fire restriction for all of our land.
And that's true. The fire restrictions that fall under Stage 1 and Stage 2 are still in effect. And so you cannot, even if the trails are established and around them, you can't bring in ignition sources. You can't have any device or equipment that could produce a spark. You can't drive in those areas. And so really, if you don't want to bring any ignition sources into any open space or forested areas, because that's what will cause a fire if you're not careful. And it's probably important to know too that on those windy days, when it's hot, it's dry, and the wind is blowing, those are our most critical days, because if a fire does start, that's when it's likely to grow very quickly and exceed the resource capabilities. So we really need the public's help this year during this fire season. And with that, we'll stand for questions.
When you say, and I mean, you kind of touched on this, but when you say private land as well, are we talking about, my backyard? What do I need to think about in that vein?
Well, for open, we're talking about the open burning ban that exists throughout the metro area, and that's the city of Albuquerque and Bernalillo County. Open burning is recreational fires like a fire pit, things of that nature, but you can still use your barbecue grills for cooking as long as it's an enclosed container and there's not sparks coming out of it. How's that?
And did we already have that in Bernalillo County, and this is just now the whole city?
Yes, the county initiated that, I think, Chris, was it a week ago?
That was end of May.
Bernalillo County initiated the ban on open burning at the end of May. The city is starting that as of June 10th at 8 a.m. So you can't burn weeds or tumbleweeds or anything of that nature either.
And pretty much until further notice.
Yes, and that'll be until we get a significant amount of rainfall. That's when we reevaluate the fire indices, the drought, and then we make a decision if we can start lifting or reducing the fire restrictions. Okay? All right.
Hey Chief, I got to go back. I got to come up with this one. So bear with me for a minute, you guys. That's why the ranger's here. Okay, this one's important too. Trust me. Okay. Another area on the Sandia Ranger District that will remain open during the closures is the Sandia Peak Tram. So visitors will still be able to use the tram, the lower tram facilities, ride the tram up to the top of the hill, and utilize the High Finance restaurant and the observation deck at the top. Visitation will be confined to the observation deck, and the associated tram facilities will not be able to get off of the deck and go hike on any of the trails, but they can still enjoy the tram and all the related facilities.
Stay there, sir. Any questions?
Any more from Jim?
Actually, spell your name real fast for me.
It's Matt, last name is Rau, R-A-U.
And your title.
I'm the Fire Management Officer for the Sandia Ranger District. Anything else for Jim?
So I don't want to. It's not my turn, but I want to do the regular guy version of this. So let me make sure. I was briefed on this, but I want to make sure people understand. If you want to go to the Bosque or into the foothills around Albuquerque this weekend, grab your water bottle, pack a lunch, put your hiking shoes on, jump on a bike, stay on an established trail, and you're fine. Anybody nodding otherwise? Yeah, and you're fine. No open burning, public land or private land. No burning of weeds, no chainsaws, no smoking, no open pit fires, no recreational fires. But get out, enjoy, recreate, be our eyes and ears. Call us 242-COPS or 911 if you see something that's an emergency. Otherwise, you're welcome to enjoy these wonderful assets we have. Just no open flames and stay on established trails. If you get off, we've all got a problem.